the Woodland Hills Country Club golf course. As all of you know, that something has gone on concerning that. It appears to be that it has been being developed at this point. We're at the beginning stages of it. I just returned back from a 3-week vacation to having that hit me. They waited to the last minute to do stuff and didn't really do much in publication for anybody on this. A lot of people in the community have gotten together very quickly and putting things together. It is important that you be aware of that. You may know that there is a meeting coming up this Friday over at St. Mel's. If you're not aware of that, you should be. I'll put up the flyer for that, if you will, and you guys can and girls can take a screenshot of that if you wish. I'll give you a moment for that, but it's over at St. Mel's. It'll be at 6:30 this coming Friday. There's a number of people that are putting this together. I'll be there. We intend to participate in that as well. It is an interesting adventure that's going on concerning the golf course. That thing has been around here for a long time, like 100 years, I think, at this point. And we really need to watch what's going to go on in the development. And to be clear, the Woodland Hills Homeowners Organization is not against development. Everybody thinks that, we're the rich people that live up in the hillsides or whatever and don't look at these things. That's not it at all. We want development, but good, responsible development. And I think what you'll see when we start looking at this particular project, and we'll talk to the captain about this too, and probably to Senior Lead Officer Gutierrez. By the way, welcome on, Senior Lead Officer. Appreciate that you're being here. But we'll find that one of the problems we've got is that we're in substandard roads that are up here. And if we're putting another 800, 900 cars on the road, blocking up those areas up there. Personally, I live up in that area, and I'm fearful that we'll end up killing people if we have a big fire up here, because I think that it's going to end up jamming up things. Sensible development is a good thing. The fact they haven't reached out to the community and talked to anybody at this point is disturbing to a lot of people. That's going to hopefully get corrected. And we're at the beginning stage at this point. I will let you know that I have my first draft of a lawsuit prepared on this. There's others that are doing similar things to it. But in the meantime, what's really important is for us to gather information, not go off in craziness on things and not spread any rumors about stuff, but rather gather the basic facts of what actually is happening. Take a look at who the parties are and what their real reasons are for doing things, and seeing if we can find some way to make things work out. I look at it as the who's doing what and why. It's the why that really becomes an interesting point. That may be something we can look at for some negotiations in the future and modifications to be able to protect our community. So keep that in mind. We will see you then at St. Mel's for that on this Friday. But keep that in mind. That's what we're doing. Woodland Hills is here. We've been around since 1985, working in the community. We have filed lawsuits against Westfield on stuff that went on with the village. We've done work now with the Rams on the stuff they're doing over there too to help the projects to be better. And we're going to look at this one too and find ways of being able to help that out as well. So we're here. We're here to help the community. Please join with us. Please go spend that extra $25. It helps us out a lot. But most importantly, we need you. We need your emails so that we can be able to keep you informed on things as well. So there we are. That's what's going on with that. And I'm sure there's tons of questions that really cannot be answered for this evening because there's a lot of unknowns at this point. But we'll get a lot more, I think, on this Friday. And I'm working on it along with a number of members of our board also. We have social media, just so you know. We're on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, which I guess is called X now, and Instagram as well. Do follow up with that. The next meeting, we're going to have Councilman Bloomingfield, we hope. It'll be scheduled for January the 28th. He's been requested. We've also requested Representative Jesse Gabriel to show up with us at some time next year at one of our meetings. We'll see if he will do that. We invited him the last time, and he wasn't able to make it for some of the reasons out of the country or something at that point. Well, before we get to our speakers, we have one formal thing we have to do, which is the election of our officers for 2026 and our board members as well. I want to turn it over to Shelley, who is one of our board members. She is our treasurer and is a person who's going to nominate the slate at this point in time. The chair now finds it's in order for the slate to be presented. Shelley, if you would.
Thank you, John. Yes, I'm happy to do this for the WHO board for 2026. The slate is for the executive officers: John Walker, President; Dennis DiBiase, Vice President; Marty Lipkin, Vice President; Nancy Porter, Secretary; Shelley Schwartz, Treasurer; and our directors at large, equally as important board members: Ari Coyne, Scott Silverstein, and Colleen Schwab. So that is our slate for 2026.
Right. The chair finds that there are sufficient number of members that are present for us to have the election at this point in time. Because we're on the Zoom, I would put it this fashion. If there is any objections, please raise your hand to that slate. I see no objections. The chair finds that the sufficient number of votes have been cast and the slate is now approved and the board members are now elected for 2026. And we thank you all for serving on that. I think it's important for our membership to know that these people work very, very hard on things that go on. Nobody gets paid. We're all volunteers on what we end up doing here. And we need all of your support on things. Those of you who have special talents and what have you that can, especially with this potential coming up now with the golf course, let us know. If you are lawyers and have a background in urban planning or what have you, please ship me an email. You can find my email on the site. It's john@whho.com. And let me know about that because we need to put together our team at this point to take a good look at this particular project. So keep that in mind and deeply appreciate those that have been serving. We've got a good board and they've been around for a good period of time and know this community really well. I've served since the mid part of the 90s. And as some of you may know, I was one of the chief petitioners to move the valley into its own city. Was a successful election, but nonetheless, we had a lot of work with that, a lot of contacts, a lot of education in that process. Well, let's move on to tonight. That's why you're all here. Let's get into it this particular evening. We are very, very pleased to have LAPD's Topanga Division's Captain Lopez and our Senior Lead Officer, Brittney Gutierrez, with us this evening. First, I want to say, too, thank you for your service to our community. We don't know what we'd do if we didn't have good police officers out here, that's for sure. I'm going to take a liberty at this point of not going in order of our ranking, but rather I'm going to take ladies first at this point, if I may. And if nothing else, I'll make some points maybe with my wife that I'm doing so. Brittney, I'd like for you to explain, if you will, to our group. First of all, I guess I would say who you are as far as what you're doing in the community. That's number one. And then number two, what is a senior lead officer? What do you do as a senior lead officer? How long have you been doing it? Why do we need a senior lead officer? Because some of the people may not even know that you exist and what you're doing. How do they contact you? And under what circumstances would they contact you? So I'll turn the floor over to you and then we'll come back to the captain. So don't take up too much time. You get mad at you and mad at me both. So.
Absolutely. Well, good evening. Thank you for having me on again. I do appreciate it. My name is Brittney Gutierrez. I have about 10 years on. I'll have 11 in January. A senior lead officer. So it's basically a police officer who serves as a liaison between LAPD and the community. So we focus strongly on building relationships, addressing local issues and quality of life issues, improving community trust. And we collaborate with all of our specialized units in solving crimes and developing intelligence. That is our crime trends. And we work with other government agencies, the council district, the community organizations to improve public safety. So we rely heavily on the council district when it comes to a lot of things that I deal with in my area, particularly when it comes to homelessness or when it comes to business burglaries with businesses. I reach out to the council district, and they work with other partnerships, LASA, Hope the Mission, to try and house these individuals. They also go out with me to the business owners. So in a little bit, I'm going to talk to you guys about a few of the burglaries that I've had in my area, and I reached out to the council district, and we are going to be going to these businesses and talking to the owners of what they can do to secure their properties better, and in that sense. And so, with that, I am the Woodland Hills Senior Lead Officer. There's one for Winnetka, there's one for Canoga Park, there's one for West Hills, and so we all work together. And like I said, we try and help the community. You guys can reach me anytime, text me, call me anytime, 213-709-9231. And like I said, if I'm not working that day, I promise I'll get back to you the next day. But it truly helps me in my job to work with the community. I need the community's help in a lot of the issues that I oversee, and a lot of the times the things that I'm made aware of is because of the community. So like I said, it's definitely a partnership and working hand in hand with that sense.
We found that you've been very responsive to us in the past, and we know that'll continue on in the future with that. We deeply appreciate your service on that as well. Captain, we'll turn it back over to you. And again, Brittney will leave you up on the screen as well at this stage. I will kick off, but as the two of you wish to discuss things, we're looking for all the safety issues, obviously, that are going on. Things from, as you were talking about, Brittney, with what we need to do about cars and gifts in them, especially now during the holiday season, shopping, any kind of scams we need to watch out for, any robberies that are going on too. And Captain, if you'll talk to us about the deployment and what we're doing as far as staffing, I think that's an important issue for all of us to know about as well. And obviously, we'll touch on the homelessness issues. You'll get a lot of questions from me, if nothing else, about that. And we'll talk about some going on with the golf course as well. So, Captain, I turn it over to you now. And again, thank you for your service. And I'm hoping that you're having a good time with with the discussion this evening.
Very good. Thank you, John. Thank you, WHO, and everybody that's involved here for having me here. I really enjoy this group because it's stimulated conversation, and you guys bring up things that are important to me as a resident of the city of LA. I wish I had a group like you guys in my community that made a significant difference in the area that we live in. So I'm the commanding officer of Topanga. Topanga is a very large command, 32 square miles. In that area, I provide the police resources for West Hills, Winnetka, Canoga Park, and Woodland Hills, 4 very big communities. The last census that was done well over 10 years ago, we were just over 200,000. So I believe we're probably closer to 210, 220,000 residents that we provide services. On top of that, we're one of the unique commands that has several large-scale shopping malls in our command. We have West Hills, Topanga, we have the Village, we have the Outlets, and we have, help me, that last one is Fallbrook Mall. Just alone, just so you have an idea of how many people come into Topanga itself, Topanga Mall, 1.5 million residents, 1.5 million people, many of them outside of the residential area of our community are coming to Topanga Mall. That's a lot of people. Just on Black Friday alone, they estimated 110,000 people on that Friday alone came into that mall area. So obviously, when you got that many people, you're going to deal with a lot of parking problems, crime problems, and it's definitely a monster that we try to address during the holidays. So I know John asked to speak briefly on me. I have 35 years. I just celebrated my 35th year anniversary. That's a lot of time. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you. There's not a lot of dinosaurs like me anymore on this. I started in November of 1990. I think I started with 80 classmates. There's only 2 of us left. So I don't know what I'm doing right or am I doing wrong, but I'm still here, and I still have a lot of energy. And that was before cell phones. Pages. I mean, I can 100%. Imagine that. That was before laptop computers. Holy smokes! Totally. Pagers. You remember pagers? Yeah, that's. And you'd have to make a phone call from a payphone. I know Brittney doesn't remember that as well before her time, but I worked many commands throughout the city. I've been a captain for about 5.5 years, and I've been the commanding officer for 4 different commands, to include Van Nuys, Force Investigation Division, Southwest, which is the Coliseum and USC area, and then I'm here for the last 2 years. So I'm very, very excited to be here. I plan on being another 1.5 years. God willing, health is still good, and I'm hoping. I don't foresee the chief moving me, so you're going to have me for another 1.5 years. Will you be retiring at that point? Yeah. So we'll hope that we're going to have a good celebration and that you'll be good and safe during that period of time. Totally. Definitely. I'm looking forward to it. So. Do we know who your replacement is yet? Oh, no. It's 1.5 years, John. That's a long time. Well, I thought Brittney, I saw her ears perk up a little bit over there. Wasn't sure. Okay. Brittney will be a sergeant by then. Let's hope. So let's talk about crime. We're having another really good year. As we come to the end of the year, crime is significantly down. If you remember last year, which was my first year in Topanga, we were about overall 18% reduction compared to the previous year. I'm going to tell you some numbers that I have here in front. So year to date, so we're already in December here. We are down in every category. We're down and I'm going to talk about violent crime first. That includes rape, robbery, and ags and homicides. We are down 20% in homicides. We're down 38% in rape. We're down 14% in robbery. and we're down 19% in ag assaults. Ag assaults are those where typically a weapon is involved. You add all those numbers up, we're nearly 19% reduction in violent crime. So the Achilles heel of Topanga typically is property crime. We don't have the violent crime that we typically will have in other bureaus like South Bureau or Central Bureau. But the Achilles heel of Topanga in the Valley mainly is property crime. So I will start with GTAs, which we struggled big time last year. The year to date, we're down 29% compared to last year. That's 216 less vehicles stolen year to date out of the Topanga area. Burglary for motor vehicle, down 13%. Theft, we are down 300 crimes, which is 15%, which is significant considering those malls that we have here. And then burglary, as you know, it's been all over the news. We struggled. The Devonshire, which is north of us, and east of us, we have Tarzana, Encino. All of those valley residents had significant South American crews and South LA or Inland Empire and the Palmdale Lancaster organized crews that were coming in and hitting the valley hard.
Why are the stats so far down? Do we have more police out here? The policing? Have people gone other places? Are we more effective? What's keeping it? What's getting it down? What's the success? What's causing it?
That's I'd like to take credit that I'm so innovative and I'm putting the people in the right places and we have a lot of energy in Topanga, but we definitely do not have more officers. When I started 2 years ago, I think my sworn strength of sworn were about 220. I'm struggling just to meet 200 year to date. So in 2 years, I've lost about 20 dedicated sworn officers, and that includes patrolmen and detectives at all levels. The department is way down. In 2020, this department was 10,000 strong. 2025, we're at 8,600, and we are projected to be smaller. The classes that are graduating, they're barely over 20. If you go back when I went through the academy, there were 86, 90, 100 strong. So we're not hiring like we used to. There's a lot of issues that the mayor and the chief have dealt with personnel. The interest level is still there to become police officers, but they have not been able to remedy or fix the processing of officers and getting them into the academy in a quick manner. So we're losing a lot of quality people to other agencies because we're not able to figure it out how to process a candidate in less than a year. Our average is like a year to process somebody who takes a test. So they promise that they're fixing it, they're looking at it, and they've made promises to reduce that time so we can keep some of those good candidates. But it has been a struggle, and we're losing every month. We're losing more people than we're getting on this department. So that does concern me, and it should concern you. That means I'm still having to make my minimums, which means on day watch, I have to make 7 cars. But if I don't have that 14 officers, what that means is I got to pay overtime. I got to hold units over, or I got to find officers that want to come on an overtime to come work. What that also means is specialized units, my gang units, my vice units, my bike units, non-existent, collapsed, units that we were able to address crime, proactive crime, and stop crimes and arrest people before the crime was committed. Very little resources because I got to make my patrol minimums. And detectives, the sad truth is we are not what we were when it comes to investigation. And I speak the truth. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, but our detective bays, skeleton crews. So the crimes are, as you heard, the crimes are down. Why? I don't know. It's citywide. It's down. The Valley is significantly down also. I look at all the other commands, the commands that we have in the Valley, and crime is
sometimes, Captain, fear that the statistics are being swayed and that somebody's got their thumb on the scale, if you will, so that it looks good as opposed to being realistic figures. How confident are you that those figures are realistic, or are you skeptical about them as well?
You know, people can deduct many reasons why. If people are not reporting crime like they used to, people talk about ICE, the fear of reporting crime because they think the LAPD is going to come in and start asking them immigration questions, which we don't, but that fear is still out there. So Maybe those of that deal with immigration status issues are not reporting crime, where 5 years ago they would have been reporting crime. The more violent crime, I think that gets reported because that's usually generated by a radio call. The homicide, you can't hide homicides. A body's a body, right? The violent crimes, the shootings and stuff, those are you can't really hide those numbers because those are generated typically, but they're all down. So ask.
I got you on that. It just seems strange that there's not a clear indication as to what's going on. It feels like some of those crimes just not getting reported. It may be the ICE, or maybe something else that's showing those things to be down. But nonetheless, I think that Officer Gutierrez had mentioned something about there are some robberies things are going on. We have to really kind of watch out for it too. Are the robberies up in the area at all? Is our gangs coming in here, or what's going on?
No,
No.
I'll speak briefly, then I'll let Britt speak specifically to the Woodland Hills area. Gang violence has been significantly low. We still have the one supervisor and 6 officers. When we started the year, that Lanark Park, the CPA, the Canoga Park gang, Alabama gang, they were very active. We had several gangs coming into our area and shooting up the park. Historic numbers. We started in a horrible place, but with high visibility, significant arrest of many of the individuals that were involved in the gangs. The numbers are way down, and specifically in robberies. We do measure where gangs are involved in robberies, and that I don't have the exact percentage, but I know that they are down. I just had a briefing a couple of days ago specifically to gangs and robberies, and that is down within my area. So I'll have Britt speak specifically to Woodland Hills area.
So knock on wood, thankfully, I don't have a gang issue in Woodland Hills. As of right now, I do not have that. But what I was speaking to earlier is, so for the month of November and for the month of December, so I had commercial burglaries. And so for the month of December, I had 4. And for the month of November, I had 6. And I was going through, and a lot of them are a furniture store, PetSmart. I had some of the other clothing stores. So they're retail stores that are being hit. But the reasons that they're being targeted is for cash registers. So 7 out of the 10 of those, they vandalized the window by breaking in and shattering the glass, but they were looking for cash, for money in the registers. Thankfully, a lot of these businesses don't keep money in their till and don't keep it in the register, but that was a focus. And that, residential, I like, my numbers are great. I'm down all across the board. So like I said, the last 10 burglaries that I have had within the last 2 months have been commercial. And so that's where I work with the Alice Roth, who is the Woodland Hills field deputy out of Bob Bloomfield's office. And that's where we need to go to these businesses, and we need to have them put some, make sure that everybody is aware not to keep money in the registers, to make sure that it is placed somewhere where someone breaks in, they can't take it. So, but like I said, besides that, I am down, from year to date from last year across the board when it comes to homicide, rape, robbery, burglaries, theft for motor vehicle. All my numbers look really good for this year.
Again, do you have any kind of an indication what the reason is for that? What's been causing that to come down? I mean, we're very pleased with that, obviously. But,
no, absolutely. Like I said, kind of like what the captain was saying. I mean, I don't have a direct reason, or I don't have, we do have officers in the area. We have better, when we go to our community meetings, we stress having cameras, we stress having lighting, we stress knowing your neighbors, we stress a lot of these things, and that has helped us immensely when it comes to. Go ahead.
Not long ago, we had problems like, for example, over at Nordstrom's with the gangs coming in and grabbing that stuff. We had problems at CVS of gangs coming and grabbing that stuff. Has that been eliminated in some fashion? Are we just not seeing those gangs around anymore, where they're having, those mobs coming in? And is that something we don't really need to worry about like we had before? I mean, some of us didn't want to go in shopping in some of those places. We're afraid we're going to get stuck with something. Where are we with that type of security for our community at this point? What are your feelings?
So I'll jump on that. The organized crime that was reported, that is seen numerous times on television. It appears violent, and in nature it is, when they go in mass and smash the glass and grab whatever and run off with it. We only saw one this year. There was a focused task force put together 2 to 3 years ago, along with the state, that really worked those cases, and they made significant numbers of arrests of that organized group of theft that was occurring in our malls. If you go back a couple of years ago, the mall had 3 or 4 of those, and because it's so visual and so violent in the sense of how they're doing it, it got a lot of media attention, and hence they did focus a lot of task forces on that and did make significant arrests. And same thing was happening with the burglaries. The Valley was getting killed with organized burglaries. So they formed up task force along with Metropolitan Division and made some significant arrests. So that has definitely driven down the residential piece, as Brittney was speaking, that we struggled with at the beginning of the year because of the number of arrests they've made. I think that the criminals are either going somewhere else because they know that that we're arresting people now, and the DA is filing these cases, and the DA is hitting them with substantial jail time. I don't think they're coming over here. But the only, even though burglary overall is down, as Brittney alluded to, commercial burglary is not. Commercial burglary is spiking over the last couple of months, and it's more localized. It's local transients or people acting like they're a transient or a homeless person, and they're residing in our area, and they're walking or riding a bike or driving in the early morning hours and hitting the local businesses of restaurants, furniture stores, and smashing the glass, grabbing what they can, usually hitting the till and grabbing what they can, and doing that two or three times, sometimes at night, and then sneaking back into the community.
Megan is asking the question here of whether or not the neighborhood watch groups are helping to reduce some of that crime aspect. Does there seem to be any kind of a correlation with that at all, or are we just pleased to have that in our neighborhood and the neighborhood watches?
Go ahead, Britt.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I get all, like I said, that is where I get a lot of the source for the crimes that are occurring. That's where a lot of times too, when a burglary does happen, the neighbors reach out to me and say, "Hey, I have video. I have a license plate." So these neighborhood groups, they help immensely when crimes do occur in the neighborhood.
Are you doing some using some of the funds from Council District 3 to install some of the license plate readers?
Captain?
Yeah, so Council District 3 has definitely supported that, as has 12. 12 has numerous of them. John Lee has been extremely supportive, and he jumped on it earlier than 3. So they got about 100 license plate readers throughout their area. My command only has a small part of Councilman Lee's area there. The majority of my area is Bloomingfield. Bloomingfield has supported it with a significant amount of money. The department is struggling with now is to identify a vendor and getting those promised license plate readers out. So even though we're working on this already a year, we do not have one camera up yet, but it's a process that's unfortunately taking longer than we all would like, but there's some licensing issues with the vendors and what kind of information they want to share with us. That's becoming a problem.
Well, explain to us on this one about those license plate readers. I mean, it would seem to me that somebody's coming into an area to rob a location, they're going to take the license plates off of it. They're not going to be able to be read. So the only ones you're going to probably get are probably stolen vehicles just after they've been stolen. What's the major benefit of the license plate readers to crime fighting, I guess, in essence? And by the way, I've got my cats running around over here too, so it's all good.
She never comes on me until I go on Zoom.
It's all okay.
No, you do make point. Many of those that are involved in that organized type of crime are using a stolen car, a cold car, or switching the license plates. But it still allows us sometimes to get a color and a make and a model with those vehicles. And sometimes we're able to track it, at least with other cameras that are throughout the city, and be able to identify where that car landed. It definitely helps when there is a license plate, and many times we'll find that vehicle abandoned, and we could get it for for evidential value, prints or DNA to identify them. But the reality is also is in many cases our TID, our tech guys, they mostly with time and money focus more on violent crimes when it comes to that kind of evidence more than property crime.
One more question. We'll get Shelley. I see you got your hand up.
Yeah.
We'll come to you. But one second, Shelley. One more question from the group that's here, so we make sure that the audience is asking their questions too. The one about the drones. Are the drones uncovering this and helping with the robberies? And is that helping to deter some of the stuff that's going on too? Are those operational? Where are they operating out of? How you use them? And again, to those that may be new to the concept, let them know whether or not those are armed with anything or whether or not they're invasive or what those drones are doing, if you could.
Yeah, we were actually fortunate. Us and another command were the testing site for the drones for the department. We had them here for about 3 to 4 months. They were going with one company that did not work out well, so they started with a second company. They've expanded that to about 5 commands still with us. They were centralized. The pilot and the observer were working out of our station, as was the drone was being launched off of our roof. The chief, and this is a testing program still, because we're probably less than a year into this whole program. He made the decision to remove the pilot from the command, and he centralized them. So they're all working out of downtown LA, the pilot and the observer. But they're still, the bird, as we call it, the nest is still on top of Woodland Hills, and they're launching. Even though they're controlling and observing everything from downtown, they're actually controlling the drone from out of from our station. So they were able to fix the original vendor was only able to fly out a mile from the station, which wasn't helping us much. This new vendor is getting out to like 3.5 miles, so that covers a good portion, about 60% of our division, and so they are working many days and many hours, and there's many success stories where they're able to get launched before the call is even dispatched, because they're in sync with the communications where the phone calls are coming in, and they're launching and they're getting their seconds before the calls even launch. So
make sure that we understand that you actually have launching pads here in the valley, but the operators are not here; they're downtown. So it's being done remotely.
Yep.
And are you calling them in from here, or who's calling those drones in to be launched?
It's both. They're monitoring our frequency, they're monitoring our radio, and they're in communications with the downtown comms, and they're listening. And if they don't catch it, our watch commanders requesting that they get launched.
It sounds like it's not what you originally had expected it to be, and hopefully something will change around at some point in time. It sounds like it was a good system, but apparently it was not working the way that you thought it was going to.
Yeah, it was more a problem with the vendor. I think they found a really good vendor now, and I think it's working very well. And we are getting the coverage right now. It's five commands that have drone accessibility, and we're one of them. So we are blessed to have that.
Okay, that sounds good. Shelley, you had some questions. Go ahead.
Actually, my question was about the drone program, so we're good on that.
That was it. I'm sure you have some more. Shelley, I know that you have questions about the deployment and about the funding issues, and also since you have experience with it. You spent a lot of time over at the meetings. Talk with the captain a bit about what those meetings are all about over there and what your experience has been with those too, and that the public is invited to those to get updates on things.
Right. You're talking about the CPAP meeting.
Yes.
The community, take place on the first Wednesday of every month at 6 o'clock, and the community is welcome. The SLOs are there. The captain is always there taking questions, and there's always a featured speaker, someone from the department, someone from the DA's office. It's a wonderful opportunity for the community to be able to ask, as they can here, face-to-face questions and bring their concerns. And the meetings are held at the Topanga station, as I said, on the first Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. And I really encourage everyone to attend the meetings. One of the things I was going to bring up that, we learn when we attend those meetings, and I was hoping, Captain, you can talk to the public a little bit about this, is what funding is really like for your department, and what we understand about the officers, but it even goes beyond that. I know, like your mobile command unit, for example. is not where it really needs to be or where you would like it to be. And just how really there are many funding areas that the police need and aren't being taken care of because of budget issues.
Yeah, as Shelley alluded to, and I speak frankly about where we're at as a department, and I know my command very well, and I know it's smaller because I'm able to do less, and demand is always increasing. And basically even my overtime, I'm constantly managing that, and I'm held accountable to a hard number, and I try to make that number. So I have to be innovative, and I rely on the support of the city council. They have special funds, and they're able to allocate that to their needs and their interests. So Lee was first one to pull the trigger, and he's been really good every year, and he's provided several hundred hours of overtime during the Christmas holiday to address the theft and to address the homelessness that's in his area. Was able to get Bloomfield to offer the same kind of support, and we've been able to put holiday plans together that provide uniform presence, horses, bike officers, all throughout the commercial area to provide that extra present during the holiday. But once that overtime runs out, that's it. That's all I'm able to provide, and we go back to basic car uniform presence to support whatever is happening in the command. So I mean, we deal from large demonstrations. Anybody that knows the Topanga Mall, every week we have some No Kings protest at that corner X and Y where the mall is, and on 2 events that crowd got close to 4,000 people, and that tallies up a whole lot of resources. Our mobile van has to respond to that and set that up, and we need sometimes many resources from other close divisions to help us assist those problems. But yeah, it is constant struggle for me to meet the demands of policing for our area.
Well, we're going to be coming up to budgeting time with the city council. I'm assuming it would be helpful for us to put a word into our city council to make sure that they keep your funding up and not have the mayor or anybody else try to cut that down.
100%. And I don't know if Shelley was at that meeting, but we had Councilman Bloomfield attend. And again, sometimes my mouth gets me into trouble, but he wasn't as supportive with my vision of how I needed some overtime. And I think not till he went to our CPAD meeting and he heard it from people like you regarding their interest for more police presence. Soon after that, we were able to get his support. So that's a good thing. So the more you guys support that vision through your city council, I think that the better we will be.
Scott, you had some questions. Go ahead with yours.
Yeah, we just we're what, a year out.
I'm sorry, Scott. I muted you. My mistake.
I'm sorry. First, I want to thank you for being here. We're about a year out from the fires, and we saw the destruction of the fires and the enormous job that was done by not only LAPD, but all the first responders, fire, ambulance, sheriff, the whole crew. I'm just curious. That was one event. We lost 7,000 houses. You can't even stock enough officers to run 7 cars. What happens if we get a fire in the valley? If we get a major earthquake in the valley, do you feel that you're able to handle a major catastrophe in the valley with 7 patrol cars or less than 200 officers?
That's a challenging question. If it's isolated, what this department does, it mobilizes on a significant disaster such as that, or a major demonstration where destruction is occurring, and we will call assets from other parts of the city to come support us. So every command, there's 21 commands. They all have their different numbers, but during a day watch, let's say they have an average of 7 to 8 patrol cars that are working in 21 commands. In a significant event like that, be it called an earthquake or a major fire, the cavalry will be called within our city, and we will muster up 50, 60 units to handle that incident. So that's how we work. If it's really large, but it's isolated to the city, sometimes we even call mutual aid and the sheriffs will come in. Rarely does that happen because we try to handle stuff on our own, but it's been, as you saw, the demonstrations downtown LA, that involved the sheriffs, that involved the highway patrol, that involved us and several smaller agencies. So there are plans and contingency plans to get additional resources, and the city we'll even call in council days off. We'll cancel people on vacation to meet that need until that disaster is addressed.
Okay, another point you touched on earlier had to do with the number of officers. How many officers, sworn officers now, are in LAPD? Citywide.
Sworn, about 8,600.
Okay, and I recall when Bloomfield was here about a year ago, they said that they were trying to get 240 new officers on the streets, and you said that it's down, it's not up.
We met.
Why is it?
We met that there was 250 recruits. We did meet that to that exact number. And actually today, and I didn't follow it. Remember the mayor had promised the department, if we were able to meet that 250, she would support an additional 250 for the fiscal year. I don't know where that vote went with the city council. I hope it passed, because if it didn't, we're done with academy classes through June.
Okay, well, that's good news. It just makes you feel good living in one of the highest tax city in the whole country, that they can't provide enough basic services. Yeah. It's really why do we put up with that?
Scott, the chief, I just came from a general staff meeting with the chief, and he said he's going to be more open about that. But if you look at the population versus how many officers we have, and you compare that to Chicago PD, New York PD, Boston PD, we are well below that ratio.
I think there's 30,000 NYPD.
Yep.
And we have 8,000.
Yep.
If people don't run scared when they hear something like that. I did want to ask you though, with Warner Center being an area of exponential growth.
Yep.
Why is it that we don't see a substation? Why are we not added patrol cars? Why is it like Warner Center doesn't exist with LAPD staffing?
So Scott, the mall itself has a substation. They said it's been there since before I got there. But I gotta be honest, I don't have assets. I don't have resources to dedicate to that. They can give me an office, but it's going to be empty. The basic, as I explained, the basic need to meet the minimums is what I need to fill. I don't have an extra 2 officers to dedicate into an office at the mall. The city the department has a master plan, and they make the decision as to how many officers I get, and how many Devonshire gets, and how many West Valley gets. 21 different factors go into what each command gets.
Captain, with the development that's going to go on with the Kronsky properties over at the Rams and what have you, we've done work with that, and looking at how large that's going to be.
Yep.
We're going to have a huge influx, not only just residents in location and of our own people, but that's going to be a major area that's going to attract people from all over the city and maybe from other areas too. It's going to require serious planning. And we hope that you are going to be working with them to try to make sure that that's going to happen and to provide for the necessities that we need to have at that point too. Because it's quite a problem.
I know you had some questions about and Brittney knows the names better about the golf course, the Wisteria senior housing.
Yeah, the Wisteria properties too. Yeah, along with that. And
I mean, you got 3 major developments that are occurring here in this area. The Kroenke Rams, they're the only ones that have met with me to discuss the plans, the development, what it looks like. They've shown me the plans, and I told them I would love to be part of that design. There's a lot of things we can do to mitigate crime. So they listened to me. They brought in the fire department. So at least they're being a good neighbor and involving me. I know they reached out to you, I believe, and have done a presentation. That's a 10-year plan, but they are ready. I think by beginning of next year, March, the whole promenade will be leveled, if it's not leveled already. And they're going to start putting up that housing piece pretty quick. I don't know if you've seen that master plan. There's a 10,000 person theater that's going to go in there. There's a high-rise buildings, residential buildings. There's a semi-park. There's the training ramp facility. It is going to bring in a lot of attention and a lot of people. I would think with all that money it's going to bring in, there's got to be some kind of brokered fee that we got to provide extra resources here. If that doesn't mean like an overtime, a coast detail that brings other resources to handle large events like that. But it's got to be done because, yeah, it's going to bring in a lot of positive and a lot of negative people.
Well, let's catch if I will to one of the questions we had from the audience out here too, that concerns us, I think, greatly with what's going on with the proposal for the golf course in Woodland Hills. We've got some substandard streets that are up here in the Woodland Hills area, and if that project goes through with all the people it's going to bring in and the cars it's going to bring in, if we have a fire that's up here, there's great concerns that the roadways may end up getting blocked up like we saw happen over at Pacific Palisades. And that would create serious difficulties for all of us. I'm curious whether or not your office, particularly, or anybody from LAPD, is working on some kind of disaster plans for evacuations of the hillsides if something goes sideways, be it a fire or some other disaster. Do you work with them on working out those evacuation plans? Or is that just something where right now everybody's just on their own?
I think you asked Brittney to answer that, but I'll add my other piece.
So an evacuation plan for I have not met with the council district. I have not met with anybody regarding that. Like you said, that meeting at St. Mal's is, I think, going to open a lot of our eyes, like I said, on Friday, as to what the building and what the contractor is going to do and all of that. So I guess there's a lot of unanswered questions right now, just because we haven't had that meeting. They haven't discussed what their view is and when they build this property.
All right, well, this is what's concerning me. It sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that nobody has worked out any evacuation plans up here in case there might be a fire. There's been no coordination between the fire department and the LAPD. If there was a fire up in the hillsides, to get everybody out and get everybody out safely, to where everybody knows where they're supposed to go and how they're going to direct traffic out, what the potential routes are, depending upon which way the fire's. There's no discussions about that at all. Am I correct on that?
We have an annual training with the fire department in the Hanson Dam area. That is more of an introductory tabletop exercise that we do with the fire department that talks about mass fires and the evacuations. Just so you know, the fire department becomes the incident command on a large fire, but we become part of the branch for evacuations. So they're telling us as the fire is moving what parts need to be evacuated, but that becomes our handle as to what that looks like.
Well, and it seems to me, Captain, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I would think that the fire department or whatever would say, listen, we have certain points that are designated to be the evacuation points. They are A1, A15, A27. And if the fire is coming from a particular direction, we will tell you to deploy from, to A1 and direct people to go south, or to go from A1 to whatever. I would think that there is some kind of a mapping or that type of walkthrough being done in the hillside, not just for us, but over in Encino and Sherman Oaks and other areas. It sounds to me that is not being done. Is that your understanding?
Well, we historically have not worked that well with the fire department. We were using different codes, different maps. So there's a big disconnect. That has been fixed.
That has to get fixed. That can't happen up here, because if this development at the golf course goes through, my fear is we're going to lose lives up here if we have a fire that comes through. That's a major problem. I had no idea. I thought there was serious coordinations where everybody knew where they're supposed to go. Everybody knew what they're going to do. I know when I worked the Woolsey fire, I handled some of the cases up there. CHP was all over the place there. But I have to tell you, the CHP officer I ran into came from other parts of the state. They knew nothing about the roadways. They knew nothing about what road people needed to take to get to a particular location or whatever. And they were just there to say, you can't go here. And that was basically it. I'm shocked to hear that there's not a better coordination. I think that may be something that we need to start working with the fire department, with the council district, to try to get something done with that. Am I wrong on that? Is that something that you, as the police department, would be happy to have happen?
Or 100%, John. But what I said was, historically, it has been horrible. Where we didn't speak the same language as they were using different maps. We didn't understand what they were saying, but that has been fixed. Now we're all on board. We're all utilizing a state program. There's a watch duty. I have it on my phone. Every cop has it now on their phone. It's basically where you're using the same mapping system, and we're speaking the same language with the fire department as to the direction of the fire, what needs to be evacuated, the speed, what resources, where we got to move people. That recent fire, good or bad, we have a lot of experience in the valley with fighting fires.
I understand, but again, I don't want to beat the source up too much, but it seems that if there was a fire that comes up here, that there should be certain officers that are assigned to certain quarters, put it into some kind of a grid pattern. You're assigned to that particular quarter, go get there. And if we need to move you around, we can, but let's get this thing staffed up right away so that we have people at least close by where we need to have them at. I mean, that's what
no, it's there, and it's going back to what Scott was alluding to. A large fire, it goes beyond Topanga's resources like that. So we got resources coming from all over the city that are not familiar with Topanga and the hills. So what we have is we have a staging area. They all amass into that staging area. They get assigned a sergeant. They look at the map. This is your quadrant. They use the same system that we have on our phones now. And the sergeants go out with the 6 to 8 people, and that's their evacuation zone. And it's their job to go do a door knock, do an advisory. If people want to stay, we'll encourage as much as we can, but we're not going to physically get into a fight to pull somebody out of a house if they choose to make that decision. And then we'll indicate that on the log, and we'll go to the next house. We don't have the time to argue with people. So it's there. Unfortunately, the good thing is we did learn a lot within our own organization how to better work with the fire department. I mean, we had our own fire. Remember on Victory Boulevard, we had that fire that sparked up over here in my division, and it jumped from Ventura County to LA County to LA City back to Ventura County. And we had 3 different agencies that all speak well to each other, and the LAPD was part of the evacuation. So thank God the wind shifted and it left the city as quickly as it started over here. So we are getting better. When I was at West LA, we would have the Mandeville Canyon evacuation once a year. We would plan that. We would evacuate that entire canyon, and I would welcome that. I would welcome with the fire department that we do something instead of a tabletop, that we do some canyon evacuation. So coppers get their reps.
That would be a great idea for us up here. I know I was no more than just a few blocks away from being evacuated in the last fire that came through that went through Palo States, and kind of scary at that point. I think Officer Gutierrez, I think your comment about we're going to have an eye opener. I think we talk about stuff on Friday about what's going on, and at that point, and especially looking at what the effects are going to be. Heath Klein, I see that you had your hand up. Are you online? Go ahead.
I think so, John. Thank you. The last 5 minutes of discussion are so important, and it was basically the questions that I had about the hillside areas, and most particularly the Girard tract here, with our narrow streets, to find out that there is not a plan already in existence. And, Brittney, do you think you can get up here with 84 equipment coming up here, with the homes trying to evacuate at the same time in gusty winds during a power outage? How is that going to work? And that's my general question. And then, just a question, because neighbors have asked me about it today. There was a lot of activity on Ventura Boulevard this morning. Someone said there were 7 motorcycle officers, which sounds like all the motorcycle officers in the city were pulling cars over this morning. Can you tell the community what that was about?
Captain, do you want to address the motorcycle?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
okay.
They're part of the overtime plan that Valley Traffic got a portion of overtime money for holiday enforcement. It's been a long-standing complaint that comes into my office and Brittney's office about speeders on Ventura Boulevard. So those motors are all out of Valley Traffic, and they dedicated several hours specifically to PEDs in the roadway, which kills our people. The numbers every year are, be it the pedestrian's fault or the vehicle's fault. Our pedestrians are getting killed by cars that are speeding on Ventura Boulevard. So they were able to write 57 citations and probably pull over 100 others that gave them verbal warnings. So and it's will it be as bad tomorrow? Those people that got a ticket will slow down a little bit. and those that got a warning, but it's just a constant struggle that we have. And we're going to continue to have them throughout the holiday on Topanga and around the mall is to reduce those people that are getting hit by cars.
Thank you.
Yep.
And like the captain said, I mean, we need to have definitely a discussion with the fire department when it comes to the hillside and how we're going to evacuate and how we're going to go through with getting all the resources, ingress and egress. And that is something that, like you said, we are saying we should have a definite training day on how to do that successfully.
Yeah, it may be that, even taking quadrants of the hillsides and like you said, organizing an actual evacuation from them, take those that are there and at least, if nothing else, have meetings with them showing what the evacuation route should be, where people are going to be stationed at, or how to get a hold of people, because it's going to be panicky. I don't think people actually recognize that when a fire comes through, the smoke that comes through, you cannot see anything.
Right.
And if you don't get out early on stuff, you're in real trouble. And for people that think, all right, well, I'll wait, and the embers coming across the road, we've seen all those photographs of them. If you run into trees being down and you're going to try to back up, that you're going to die in the cars. We had that happen in the Oakland fire. I don't know how many people they lost up there. It was 80 some odd people. They were all died in their cars. They're trying to get out, and one car jammed up everybody. Yep. And they got stuck on the hillsides and could not get out. And you saw the tractors coming through Pacific Palisade, pushing those vehicles out of the way because they said, just get out of your car and walk. But what happens to the people that are upstream from all of that? Yeah. So I think from a safety standpoint, I would hope that there'll be a little bit more coordination with the fire department and others. And as Joy and some others are pointing out, of course, CHP comes in with Topanga and tries to do some control over that stuff. And there's still this coordination between different agencies, between Sheriff's Department, CHP, and fire department, and everybody else. But I would hope that somebody will sit down with some ideas on it. I know, Captain, you got a year and a half left. That may be something for you to figure out some way to save some lives up here, because otherwise, I'm fearful about what may end up happening.
John, if I could be an advocate, and I mentioned this watch duty, we need to constantly remind everybody out of the WHO that everybody needs to put that on their phone. I have it right here. It will tell you as a resident when a certain designated area is identified as a advisory evac to a mandatory evac, that they have that on the phone. They know exactly what area is a mandatory, and when they get that warning, they're out, they're leaving. That's given us at least the ability to be ahead of the fire versus in the middle of the fire when people are still trying to get their cats and their animals to leave when they already got a warning 2 hours prior. So if we could push this, be an advocate for this watch duty and have everybody on it. So, and does it make mistakes? Yes. There were some people that were talking about, they were told they had to leave. In reality, it wasn't, but I think they're working those bugs out. And I think that's the best thing that people have. So they can't say they weren't told, they weren't advised, and they just got to make that sound decision to leave when we're telling them to leave.
Officer Gutierrez, there's been a request again for your contact telephone number. If you repeat it to them now and then pause for a moment and repeat it again so they can jot that down.
Absolutely. 213-709-9231.
213-709-9231.
Perfect.
Thank you for that. Catherine, looks like you had your hand up. You're available to talk. Are you there?
Yes, yeah, I'm here. Yes, I'm a resident. I'm up on the Upper Rosario, where you go almost to Dirt Mulholland. Dirt Mulholland sometimes, especially after it rains, of course, is impassable. But my issue is we are in this very, very windy hairpin turn up here on Rosario. Somebody would come and look at the top of Rosario and see this. My mother, last January, I got the prepare to evacuate. I chose to evacuate her because she was a paraplegic and sometimes quadriplegic, which would take us 2.5 hours, two of us, her caregiver and myself, to get her out of the bed safely and into the Hoyer lift to lift her into her wheelchair and get her down into the car on this top of this windy canyon road up here. This is just going to be a fire trap, and I really, really am frightened. Luckily, I made the choice to evacuate her when the fires were right up on us. The smokes and plumes were there. Of course, we had a huge wind event that just threw things all over against the house. It's the only reason I could actually really convince her, come on, let's get out, because she was confused. And it took us, again, 2.5 hours to get a disabled person out. So if the fire was right on us and we had the evacuation order, we would not have made it.
Right.
And there's no way I would have left my paraplegic mother behind.
Right.
This is really, this proposed project is gonna entrap people.
You know, that's an interesting point on that you bring up on it, Catherine. I'm wondering if that might be helpful, again, just for the future. It sounds kind of off now because we're in kind of cooler times or what have you, but if people that have those in the household that need assistance to be able to get out and get evacuated, I wonder if it might be helpful for those addresses to be somewhere listed with the fire department or with the police department, so that they're able to provide additional assistance. I mean, we know that we had problems with the animals getting the animals out, and people were panicking because they were at work and the animals were still there. Now they're trying to get back in, people trying to get out, people trying to get to their animals,
Exactly.
police department stopping them, what have you. And the same thing with people that are in their homes that may need assistance. They're staying there, but the caretakers, their family members, may be gone to work or someplace else and can't get to them. That's going to be a huge panic issue. And again, worried about what may happen for the future. You know, we can play the what if games all night long, but nonetheless, it seems that there should be some assistance and some thought being given to this, and some programs being put together that we might be able to be a help to each other.
John, if I can add to that, there's
Please.
got to be some ownership on the individuals too. I worked mounted for 4 years and I did massive horse evacuations. So many of these large stables got 50, 60 horses and they have no plan. The horses aren't trained to go into trailers, and they end up getting burned. So that goes from everybody household. If you have medical situations, everybody has to own that with that and be able to have a plan in place if a fire does happen, how to evacuate and move people quickly.
Very good. Marty, you had some questions. Go ahead.
No, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to ask all the people that are still online, please ask your questions that deal with LAPD right now, so that when we conclude, the captain and Brittney can go home, get some dinner and everything else, and we'll take up the golf course issue right after that. Okay. Well, the captain seems entrenched.
Well, Marty, I got a couple more quick things for us to finish up with on this and questions, and then we'll take that and go from there. So if we can, I think from a safety standpoint, if I may, that I'd gotten some questions from earlier, have to do with some of the safety things for the holiday season. Any suggestions for or indication what people should be doing about gifts in their cars? We know not to leave them out to where people can see them, because people are going to steal them if they get a chance to do that. Let's not be tempting with that. What other things we got going on? What do you have as far as any shoplifting issues going? Any scams are going on that we need to be watching? If there is anything, we may be quiet. Everything may be doing pretty well this season.
Some of the things is not carrying large sums of money around when you're shopping. We saw it at the mall, people shopping, they bring all these bags out to their cars, they put it in the trunk, and then they return back into the mall. If you're going to do that, please move your car. Like I said, you don't know who's watching you take all these gifts to your trunk. And, if you have to use an ATM, try and use it inside of the bank. Don't use the ATM on the outside of the bank. Another thing that we had been seeing at the Topanga Mall, and people are very in their phone. People are texting, they're looking down. Nobody is aware of their surroundings. And that is a huge, huge issue, not at the mall, but just in general. When in your daily life, to be aware of your surroundings, knowing who's in front of you, knowing who's behind you. And if you're getting packages delivered, I highly recommend not getting packages delivered to your home. There's so many services where you can go and pick up a package in a locker, and that way it's secure. No one's going to be able to. It's much harder to not get your package when it's delivered to a safer location.
As Britt said, as dumb as criminals can be, they're professional criminals, so they take the time to sort of look at victims, and victims are victims many times because they're not paying attention to the surroundings. as Britt said, their heads in the phone. They're not paying attention to who's around them. Just if you follow simple things of being aware, looking at people in their eye, and don't appear to be a victim. Many times in the bank situations, they're looking at who's taking large sums of money, how they're carrying it. They could target that card to an accident of some sort, exchange information, and then rob them. We see people walking around showing their nice watches, showing their wares, and the suspects are looking at that stuff. Those are going to be your targets. When you're in your homes, and Britt, I know probably talks about this on other times, is how to harden the target in your house. Knowing your neighbors, talking to your neighbors, so they know when you're out of town. Having a light system. Birds are looking for easy targets. They're not looking, even though occasionally a burglary will occur, a hot prowl where the residents are in. Those are small numbers, and most burglars are not looking to do that. They're looking for least confrontation. So make your house appear as if it's lived in.
Are you aware of any scams that are going on? They're trying to get money out of people's pockets at this point. Is that a thing for this season that we're hearing about?
I haven't heard of any scams, Kat. Have you?
No, early in the year, we had the gypsies that were hitting our area very hard. These were people that many times women that would ask for assistance or would give you an elderly. The elderly people were the targets. Give them a compliment, ask for a hug. And when they would come in for the hug, they would steal the chain or the watch, and they would be gone without much issue. We got hit hard for a couple months, but they travel and they move. We have not had one of those in months.
Yeah, traveling gangs like that is kind of tough. I know on the bank issues, I've still have seen people that go into the bank, they're taking some money out, and they're walking out the door, and they're still putting the money in their pocket. What have you? They can see what you're doing. They don't know if the gang people don't know if you're depositing stuff, you're picking stuff up and coming out. And the ATMs are always a problem, and need to watch those things. We had some real serious problems over in Encino. A lot of litigation came out of that with some of the banks not providing security in those particular areas to it. So it needs to be taken care of. What do we need on the homeless that's going on presently? Can you give us an update of where we are with that? Are you making any headway to it? Is it still frustrating to you as it is to us?
Extremely frustrating. And I wish I had a positive answer for you, but I will tell you this. When it comes to homelessness, I deal a lot with Council District 3. They deal a lot with the outreach teams. Bob Bloomingfield, when he was at our CPAB meeting, he came and he advised us that there is no housing right now in Woodland Hills. He doesn't have available beds in CD3. He also had sent out a newsletter in October stating that he was closing down the tiny homes because the contract was up where these tiny homes were built. And so that has created more issues because now they have to rehouse and relocate these individuals that were in the tiny homes to different areas. So the outreach is still happening. I try and work closely with the mayor's office. I'm not getting much headway with the mayor's office. I'm not getting much headway with the inside safe operations that we were promised. So as law enforcement, when it was brought to us that there was going to be an inside safe location, that meant that if there was an encampment and these individuals were housed, that if that location was repopulated, it would be up to the mayor's office to rehouse these individuals. That has not happened. And if you go to Palm Island, as of right now, it has repopulated. About a month and a half ago, they housed, I believe it was 14 individuals, which was great, which was amazing. But since for 2 months, the mayor's office has not been helpful at all in coming back to provide outreach and to try and house these individuals.
Give us an idea of the particular areas where there seems to be quite a population that's going on. I know they move around from time to time, but seem to be a location that is causing problems. I start to use some words I probably shouldn't use.
Yeah, no, and just in Woodland Hills in my area, it's going to be Warner Center, the Palm Island area. We're starting to see them underneath the underpasses. And like I said, for my partner, the Fallbrook underpass, that has always been that has always been an area where they have congregated. Today, they're underneath the Topanga and Burbank underpass. So again, yes, people say there's posted signs. Absolutely, there's posted signs. But as LAPD, we have a policy to follow. And so it's not that we can pick them up and tell them that they have to move. I mean, there's a process. And what we're trying to do is house these individuals. We're not trying to we're not trying to increase the problem. And
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. And so that's why we rely heavily on Hope the Mission. We rely heavily on LASA. We rely heavily on the council district because at the very end of the day, per the mayor and what she has distributed out to all of us is that she does not want LAPD involved in anything regarding homelessness. That is why she has these outreach teams. She wants these outreach teams to be the main contact and the main point for anybody that is experiencing homelessness on these streets.
From your experience, the population trying to help them, giving them tents, giving them food, what have you, is that turning out to be helpful, or is that turning out to cause more problems than not? You know, we hear about some foods being supplied to them that they just don't want. They throw it in the gutter and it ends up with rat infestation. I don't know if that's true or not.
And that's what's happening at Warner Center. That's what's happening at Palm Island is that you have people in the community that have a big heart, want to help. They bring food, they bring blankets, they bring tents, they bring
mattresses and furniture.
Yes, mattresses and furniture. There's a lot of illegal dumping that is happening at Palm Island, and it's people like the captain said, it's bedding, couches, chairs, lawn chairs. And so, well, we're getting, on one side, you have someone that wants to help someone who's experiencing homelessness, but then on the other side, you have a community that is looking to me asking why they can't walk their dog or they can't have their child play at the park because there's trash, there's dog feces, there's just so much at this island that it's really not the best place to bring your kids.
Do you still want us to be calling into LAPD if we're finding areas where the encampments are, or should we be calling somebody else on that?
No, you have to contact the council district, and let me give you their information. So Bob Bloomfield's office has a homelessness deputy caseworker, and her name is Grace. And so I'm going to give you the number. It's 818-774-4330. And
Grace named as Grace over there to be helping out with it too.
I'm sorry?
I said it's Grace. I said she's appropriately named to help.
So yeah.
Can you give us the number again? I'm sorry.
Sure. It's 818-774-4330. And let me give you an email. So it's Grace, GRACE Prieto, PRIETO at lacity.org. Grace.prieto@lacity.org. So when you guys observe these encampments or you observe people experiencing homelessness, they are the same route that we go through as law enforcement. When we get emails, when we get complaints, when we get phone calls, that is my first call is to Grace. Grace, I need outreach services. Grace, I need these individuals to be housed. Grace, please help me with Palm Island. Grace, please work with them. Please work with the mayor's office, because the council district, they have to work with the mayor's office. They have to have that. They have to have that relationship, right? The mayor's office essentially really doesn't have to work with LAPD because that's not part of what the mayor's plan was. The mayor's plan was to reach out to work with the council districts.
We got 3 people that are asking where Palm Island actually is.
So Warner Center has Warner Center Park, and then right across the street, it has its own little island there.
To the north.
Right. That is what we refer to as Palm Island.
All right, very good. Ari, I think you've got your hand up. Go ahead, your question.
Yeah, I'll be quick. Thank you again for coming tonight, for both of you. Appreciate it. And I wanted to get your opinion. Is it a waste of time to file 311 reports at this point for encampments? And
Yes. You have to go directly to Grace. You have to email Grace. You have to, because I'll tell you, I'm getting a lot of emails regarding people going to 311 for illegal dumping, and the sanitation, because of the holiday season, because of the weather, because of all these things that can interfere. These stuff that's left on the side of the road isn't being picked up on the dates that it's sending to this individual. So if I take a picture of a couch on alongside the freeway, 311 will kick me back a confirmation and say we will pick it up on Friday. Well, a lot of the times it's not being picked up on Friday and it's sitting there for weeks. So I get an email that says, here's my confirmation number. How come sanitation hasn't come? Well, then I have to reach out to Grace. I have to reach out to Keith. I have to reach out to the council's office, Alice Roth. Alice, help me. We're telling the community to go to 311, but 311 is not holding their end of the bargain. How do I find a resolution for this? And a lot of the times, Grace will be able to get sanitation out there once she has that confirmation and expedite it.
Got it. Thank you. And does that go the same with LASA? When you file those reports, for a request to pick up, it's the same thing. Same procedure, basically.
Same procedure.
So go to Grace. Basically, go to Grace.
Yeah. No, and because again, remember, she's the homelessness deputy caseworker out of Bob Bloomfield's office. That's her designated title. Like that's what she handles, and she has to handle that.
Totally understand. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Jim Hunter, it looks like you have your hand up. You should be able to talk. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jim. I can't read the full name on here. Jim, you have a question?
Heimler.
Oh, Heimler. Sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
Heimler. I'm on the right opposite the fifth.
Jim, I can barely hear you. A little bit louder.
Okay. Is that any better?
A little bit louder if you can.
I'm screaming. Okay. Yeah. Computer issues. Turn back to street safety issues. I've noticed, and I've been working on for the last few years, the collector streets in terms of street width, the dirt from the upper hillsides climb in.
Jim, a little bit louder, please. You're dropping off. Yell.
I don't know where else to talk into. Street width areas and safety. When dirt is on the streets, when trash cans are there, when cars are sticking out with cones in front of them, when people are parked illegally, blocking and getting collector streets down to one lane, there's zero enforcement. And it's the same cars, the same things happen, even parking right under no parking signs on corners. And nobody's picking up and enforcing that. Now we're talking about adding more homes at the bottom, so nobody's ever going to get out because we're barely even surviving the way it is now. So how do we as homeowners protect ourselves when the city can't enforce the existing codes on street safety?
Well, a lot of that, do you guys reach out to DOT? Because that's a Department of Transportation issue. And if you send me the address and if you send me the vehicle, the next day I work, I will go out and I will cite. And if I have to tow, I can tow. But again, I can't be the only, I need the help of DOT as well. And we have a very, very good relationship with them. And there's a lot of, but again, they're limited staff, just as we are, just as the PSRs are. All of us are very limited in some of the things that we can do, but that your first call should be to DOT if it is a traffic related incident. When involving parking, involving anything along those lines. When it comes to the dirt, I believe that's a council district issue, and that was the street services issue. So that is a complaint that you should go through Bob Bloomfield's office.
Jim, did you have another question on that? Apparently not. I'm getting quite a number of people are asking how they can be of help to LAPD and volunteering. They really recognize that you're short help on things. Is there anything that we as private citizens can do to be of help to LAPD in some fashion? I don't know if it's we're doing stuff through neighborhood watches, if it's volunteering to do things at the Topanga station. Is there anything that the individual citizens can do to help?
Everything you just included. We have an organized volunteer program within every command has it. We have about 70. About 20 of those are very active. They're actually, and of those, we got 10 or 15 that are in a uniform actually, and they're in a marked BMW, and they provide the eyes and ears for the mall. They respond to traffic accidents. So after some training, they're definitely a huge source. We also have a non-uniform contingency that helps us in the detective bay that will work the detective desk. And there are also other ones that will help with filing and all that stuff. As I indicated, those cuts are not only affecting uniform patrol, but the detectives are also extremely understaffed. So volunteers can assist with that. You could attend our CPAB meeting. And what I'd love to say is, and our CPAB is pretty robust. We can get 50, 60 people sometimes, but if the information I'm giving stays with that one person, I've failed. My expectation is when you guys receive information, everything we've provided a lot of good information over the last hour. Don't let it stay with you. Please share it with other people. Share it with 5 neighbors. John, I thought last time I was here, you must have had 60 or 70 followers. I'm only counting, like, including Brittney, like 10 people. What happened to?
No, it's
No,
75.
No, we have.
Yeah, no, it's 83 actually. 83
there's
participants.
84 people online.
Oh, that's awesome. I only see 8. So I'm like, what happened, John?
No.
You lost
It's
interest.
been fluctuating between about 91, 92, and 87,
Beautiful.
depending upon the hour at this point. So, and it's also recorded for those of you out there that feel that this information that you go to somebody else, tell them to tap into this. This will be up online probably within about a day or so. Ari will end up taking care of that. I'll ship that over to him and we'll get that up online. Joy, I see you wanted Grace's number again. It's 818-774-4330. And you can email her over at grace. And it's PRIETO, I believe it is, at lacity.org. And Bug Grace, I mean, if that stuff is out there, that's their job. That's what they're being paid to do. Get on them and let them know that there's stuff that has to be done. Don't let it just, make one phone call. You don't see anything happen, give up. It's our community. We have to take control of our community. Otherwise, somebody else is going to take control of it. And those people that do, we probably not like that, whether it be developers at the golf course or at some other location, or whether it be the homeless or whatever. It's our community. We've spent a lot of time here. We put a lot of effort into making sure this is one of the best communities that we have, and we need to make sure that continues on. We got a great police department that helps us with all these things and coming out here and spending their time with us tonight. Well, we're getting up to that time. I think we can probably say goodnight to you, unless there's something additional that you want to give to us at this stage. But listen, we all are so appreciative of the work that you do. Thank you for your service to our community. We'd be lost without you. We'd be lost without the senior lead officers doing things that are directly impacting our community and having that direct communication. The old days when we had, the officer that used to walk the beats and the kids knew them by name and they had lollipops for them. It doesn't exist anymore. It's now the senior lead officer that has to bring the lollipops to us, if you will, so that we have that kind of contact on stuff. But we do appreciate it more than you know, and we appreciate you spending the time with us to give us this information. It's the holiday season. Please enjoy your family. Enjoy the holidays. Please be safe out there. This is a tough time for all of you. I don't know how you do it on a daily basis. I really don't. But our hearts are off to you on this, and our prayers to you as well. So with that, I think we'll say a good night to you and to all the rest, and thank all of those who have joined with us. Again, if you're not members with us, please join with us at WHHO.com. $25 a year. Marty, you had something you wanted to say. Go ahead.
No, I was curious. You said you hinted that you might have some discussion on the golf course, and but you're shutting it out.
The golf course, as far as us doing any detailed discussion on the golf course tonight, I think we'll leave that for Friday, Marty. There's a lot of information that has to be brought together concerning that. I think from the police department standpoint, they've already answered those questions the best way they can. I will take one more question from Allison. Allison, you can go ahead and unmute. I know Allison's doing some work on that hearing coming up on Friday. Allison, go ahead. Allison, you're allowed to talk. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I'm on mute. Thanks so much, Marty. Allison Charlamp is here. Born and raised in Woodland Hills. I just wanted to do a quick clarification point for Friday. We are a group of concerned neighbors who are organizing the meeting on Friday at St. Mel's simply to give other neighbors more information about the development. We've really lobbied both Bob Blumenfeld's office and Jesse Gabriel, but neither of them have confirmed that they will be attending. So I just don't want to mislead anybody. Our representatives have not yet confirmed they will be there on Friday. nor are the developers going to be there. This is just concerned neighbors who have put together an incredible amount of research who are going to bring everybody up to speed on the topic. Okay. So I don't know that we'll be able to answer your questions, but we should be able to give you a ton of information, and then we should direct all questions towards our reps.
And we will certainly end up doing that. Gary Pollock, you had something quick you wanted to say too?
I just want to say that there was an article in the Daily News about the golf course and a few days ago, and I did write that report, and she said she was going to be there at the meeting on Friday.
Oh, wow.
Okay, well, be aware we got a good long one that has been written in our newsletter as well at this point. I certainly will be there at that meeting, and I think we'll have more information that will be provided. I'm going to reach out to some other people to see what we can do. We're going to start putting together basically a coalition on this so that everybody is able to basically understand what's going on and to find some ways we're going to be able to help with this. Okay? Well, I thank again for all of you being here. One person said they were expecting 90 minutes worth of time on this, and they were a little bit upset that I was going to stop us at 2 minutes beforehand, but I think it's time for us to say goodnight to all of you. And we deeply appreciate it again. Enjoy the holidays to all of you. And thank you all that have stopped in here to listen. Please join with us. We got some interesting battles that are going to be on our hands. And we're thankful we have the police department to be able to help us in those areas where we can. God bless all of you. Enjoy the holidays. Be safe. And we'll talk and see you all again. Take care.